And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at Fluxx, the board game. Now, Fluxx is one of the most popular card games in existence. Many people have bought copies of Fluxx, and Fluxx has certainly the opinions of people are pretty strong on Fluxx. I mean, essentially, there are a lot of people who love it, and there are a lot of people who hate it. I'm going to have to put myself in the category of people who don't care so much for Fluxx. The thing about Fluxx is that the rules change constantly throughout the game, and games can be very short, and games can be very long. It's a card game where you play, and the rules for winning will change based on the cards that you play, and if someone ever meets a goal card, they can win the game. So, you have to realize that I went into Fluxx, the board game, with some trepidation, wondering if that would be the case there. I had heard from my co-host on the Dice Tower, Eric Summer, that it was basically Fluxx as a board game, and I don't. So anyway, let's take a look at it, and let's see if my opinion on this is the same as the card game. This is the starting board. You will have a start tile placed in the middle and other tiles that are randomly placed around it. Each of these other tiles shows three pictures, like the hearts and TV and cookies and Andrew Looney and different people around the board. They also show these hexagonal spaces. But over here is the spot that is the most important. This is the rules of the game. On your turn, you will draw how many cards? I don't know. One right now, but that could change. And in fact, at the very beginning of the game, each of the players has the opportunity to move one of the pegs on this board. Then after you draw however many cards it says, you will play however many cards it says. Then you will move pieces the number of spaces that it says. So if this was at 4, then you would move your pieces 4 spaces in total. Then you will discard down to your hand limit, which is unlimited but could be 3, 2, or 1. When moving, you might be able to rotate tiles, uproot tiles, and have wraparound. So that's everything in the game. So that's what you do on your turn, and your turn passes to the next person. Now, what players are going to be doing on their turn is drawing and playing cards from a deck of cards, a deck of Fluxx cards. The cards have different things that happen to them. There is leaper cards. These cards allow you to go to a very specific spot with one of your pieces. So I get to leap to the cookies. Hooray. And if there is a piece there, then you displace that piece and send it back to start. There are many leaper cards in the deck. There are also new rule cards. As these cards come up, I can change the play of the play, how many, the new play number. So over here on the play number, I can move it forward or backwards based on this card, or I can move the hand limit forward or backwards, or I could reset a rule all the way back to the beginning, or move any peg forward or backward. There's lots of these in the deck. These allow you to change the rules. Then there are actions in the deck. Here, for example, taxation. Everyone has to give a card from their hand to you. Or all the pieces on the start tile must immediately move to octagonal spaces. Or you get to draw 3 extra cards. Or rotate colors. Everybody has a color card. And now I'm no longer yellow, I am red. So players, after they play their cards, are going to be moving. So let's say I get to move 4 spaces, and I'm green. I could go 1, 2, 3, and 4. If I land on one of these warp spots, I can automatically, if I wish to, move to the other warp spot across the board. If I move these octagon spaces, can have as many pieces as you want on them. The picture spaces can't, so if you move to those, you force the person in that spot to move to a different spot. Now there are goal cards. The game will start with some goal cards on the goal space over here, and you can play more of them. There will be a stack of them. The top one is the goal everyone's trying to accomplish. So this says rocket to the moon. What that means is if one of the players, let's say blue, is on the moon and also on the rocket, doesn't matter whose turn it is, he can immediately claim the rocket to the moon card. Or Dreamland if you control these two. Or the appliances if you're on the TV. Or I Love You if you're on both the Loonies. Or Milk and Cookies. Now, some of these spaces are on more than one gold card, like cookies is also on chocolate cookies, and on the bakery, cookies and bread. Cookies are just wonderful. And so, how many of these goals you need to get to win? Well, that's another peg that you can move. It's 3 at the beginning, but it can go all the way up as high as 6 goals that you need to win. If multiple people get the same number of goals at the same time, then the first one to get one more goal is the winner. And that is essentially how you're going to play the game. You're going to take your turn, draw, play, move pieces. Oh, and I should mention some of those other cool rules. Like I said, let you rotate tiles on the board or let you uproot a tile and place it so that you can still get to the tile. It still can be traced all the way back to the center tile. And then there can also be a wraparound effect so that if I'm here, I can come around and go here. So all that is Fluxx the board game. All right, so what do I think about it? Well, here's the deal. Maybe I went in with super low expectations. Maybe I went in expecting it to be horrible, but I actually found myself enjoying it. Now, don't get me wrong, I didn't love it, and this is certainly not a game I'll ask for very often, if at all, but I had a pleasant time playing it. Each time that I played it, the games seemed to be a reasonable length, 30 minutes or so. I suppose they could have gone longer. I don't know that they could go that much shorter. I mean, you have to get 3 gold cards in this, or up to 6, and that's going to fluctuate back and forth, but they're not that hard to get to, and so basically it's a maneuvering of moving around and landing on different things and capturing stuff. But the stuff that happens in it is still kind of chaotic. You're changing colors, you're switching cards, you're warping across the board. But I felt like I had more control in this game. See, in Fluxx the card game, you're hoping to draw all the cards you need. That's it. You're hoping to draw them. In this game, you actually can move your pieces around the board and maybe set yourself up. For example, the top gold card, you might need chocolate and milk, okay? And so you're going to go to chocolate and milk. But you know the second card, you're allowed to look through that stack, is something. So you move your pieces to those so that when someone claims the top one, you're already in position to claim the next one. Now, that's not massive strategy, but that's some. And I think that this game will actually have a lot of people enjoying it for that reason. Fluxx, the card game, it's a card game, easy to pull out. And a lot of people have come to me who've never played board games before, and they told me how much they liked Fluxx. I think those same people will really like this. At the same time, I think that this will win over a few people who maybe didn't like Fluxx because it lasted forever or lasted really quickly. Now, one of the games that I saw was my daughters played this game, and I didn't have them come in here for the review because they only played one game of it. But they said that for one of them, they said it was so chaotic. She said she didn't get to do anything over the course of the game. The other one said it was chaotic, but she didn't mind that. But they both found it very chaotic. They weren't used to games that were kind of that crazy. And so I think if you like strategic games more, this might not be your style. But at the same time, I can see this one doing really well if you have someone come over who's never played games before. It's better than Fluxx, you say. You might think that's not a ringing endorsement, and it's not. But at the same time, I like that this one's goals were a little bit more focused. I don't know how they'll expand it. Maybe they'll add more tiles and more cards. Maybe we'll see Pirate Doctor Who and all those other weird forms of Fluxx show up here too. But not bad. I know it's not a ringing endorsement of the game, but at the same time, I'd play it again.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!